Hey, what's up everyone? It's Natalia here. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to remove unwanted things from a picture using Photoshop. This is the picture we're going to be starting with. I took this picture in Dumbo, Brooklyn at Brooklyn Bridge Park, and it's such a beautiful location. I was working with such an amazing couple named Meg and Trey, but as you can see, there's all these people in the background. A backpack, these people, they're looking nice and cold there. This guy bending down, picking up something off the ground, not sure what he's doing, but he's got a nice pose going on there. That's the beginning picture, but then this is what it's going to look like after the tutorial. So here's a nice little before and after for you guys. Before, after, before, after. Well, let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to be doing to get started with this tutorial is opening up Lightroom. I have already edited this photo in Lightroom, so I fixed the coloring and the lighting and everything like that to make it my style, which is not going to be in the tutorial, but I can make another video on how to edit my style. But anyways, we're going to hover over the picture here. We're going to right click on it, then go up to edit in Adobe Photoshop. So I'm clicking on this. Great, so now we're in Photoshop. We can zoom in, we can look at everything that we need to remove. We're going to remove these people over here. We're going to remove these people, this guy here that's bending over all weird, and then this log. We're going to be using two main tools for this editing process. The first one is going to be this clone stamp tool. So the way that I'm showing the name is just by taking my cursor and hovering over the clone stamp tool. But you can go ahead and click on that and hold it while you're clicking to view these two different options. But we're going to be using the first one, so you can just leave it at that. Then the second tool that we're going to be using is called the spot healing brush tool. So I'm also just hovering over this to view the name. Then you can hold and click on it so you can see the different options here. But we're going to be sticking with the first one. The whole point of the clone tool, which is the first one we were talking about, is that you can take one object and then clone it over another one. The way that you do this is by holding the Option key and clicking it at the same time. So I'm going to click and hold the Option key at the same time to duplicate this little spot right here in the water. 1, 2, 3. I clicked both. And now as you can see, wherever I'm hovering my cursor, it's showing exactly what I just copied using that clone stamp tool. Well, first thing that we have to do here is just go up to the little number thing up here to make sure that we have our settings right for that tool. Let's bring the hardness up to maybe 55%. But make sure you guys just do that and follow exactly what I'm doing here so that we can make sure that your edit comes out exactly the same as mine. What the hardness does is that it'll make the picture that you're copying stronger, I guess that's the way to say it. So for example, if I put it at 100%, it'll copy exactly what's shown here. So if I wanted to cover that guy, it'll show like that. But as you can see, when you copy something 100%, it shows like the weird little lines here, which we don't want, the lines around this thing. We don't want to see that. We can go ahead and undo that. And the way that I undo on my Mac is Command Z. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like if you make the hardness 10%. So this is what it'll look like, and just unclick on that. Let's copy this same little thing here. I'm Option clicking, and we can put it right over that. And as you can see, the 10% makes it a little bit cloudy. The amount of hardness that you're going to use really just depends on the situation. But in this case, let's put our hardness up to maybe like 35%. Okay. Perfect. And I'm just going to undo that edit I did before again. So Command Z. You can also shrink the size of your editing tool. So here I can put it like super small if I want, or I can make it really big if I want, which is like huge. Oh my gosh, I can't even see it. Hold on. Okay. So I think this is a good size at 332. Whatever really works best for you guys. So yeah, let's get started. First, we're going to get rid of this guy here using the clone stamp tool. So I'm going to go ahead and Option click on the water. And I'm going to remove him by copying the water over him. So basically the main trick to this is just finding things that are nearby the objects that you want to remove, and then just copying those objects over the thing that you don't want. Now I'm going to get rid of this lady by doing the same thing, just option clicking on the water here to make it look similar to the water there, and just dragging it over her. As I'm dragging the clone tool over her, as you can see to the right side, there's like a little cross thing that's showing what you're copying. So I'm copying the water that's exactly from that little cross thing to the right of the cursor. So here I am, just removing her. I'm just going to keep sliding it. Perfect. And I'm going to make sure that I don't go by these building parts yet because I'm going to change the hardness of the tool when I do that. So for now, let's get rid of just the water parts. So as you can see, this part is smaller, so I'm going to have to change the size of my tool. So let's make this size smaller. I think that's good at like 70. And I'm going to option click here again so I can copy the water from here. And I'm just going to go around and start removing it. Just like that. As you can see here, the cursor is going too low. So I don't want to copy that anymore. So I'm going to recopy the water. Option click. And I'm using the water from this area here. Oops. Well, as you can see, that water is kind of too light. So I'm going to undo that and copy the water from maybe over here. Yeah, so that's pretty much the process for deleting people around it. So we can go over here and just increase the size of the cursor because we want to just delete that whole lady there bending over. So maybe we can do it like this size at 380. Then I'm going to option click on the water right here and just remove her. Cool, so I pretty much deleted all the parts that were in the water there. So now I want to delete this little section here. So what I'm going to do is just copy this little boardwalk thing and just put it right over there. So I'm option clicking on this little section so that I can copy it or clone it. And then I'm just dragging it right over. And then I'm going to option click on this section with a little bit of the water in it so I can make it look just like that part there. Perfect. As you can see, there's like these little people over here. So this is when we're going to switch tools and go over to the spot healing tool brush. The spot healing tool brush is basically like an eraser. So if you just like want to delete something, you can drag it over like that. And it deletes the object and uses the area around it to make up for the space that you just deleted. So this usually works with things that stick out. So for example, like the area around this is mostly brown, but this little object here is red. So if I delete it, it'll use the color around it to make up for what I deleted. So you can go ahead and just drag this on these little spots here so that it covers them up. Just like that. This little person here, get rid of. Yep. And then just make sure you smooth it out so that it doesn't look obvious that you photoshopped it. Cool, so I'll have a little bit to go. We're gonna be doing these buildings a little bit later in the tutorial because those are a little bit more complicated. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go back to the cloning tool, so clone stamp tool. What I wanna do is just clone this little ice section here and then just drag it. So you can just keep doing that and do what looks best. All right, so let's look at a little before and after real quick. You can go over to your history, which would be this button. You're gonna go up, look at your before. Wow, look at that big difference already. Then after. So here we're gonna have to get it, like, zoom in more, so. And the way that I'm zooming in, I have it set on my Mac that I can just like move 2 of my fingers, just zoom in with 2 of my fingers on my keypad. So you can set it like that in System Preferences, but it's however you prefer to zoom in. Some people use this little tool here on the left to zoom in, but I find that annoying, so I just zoom in with my fingers. Alright, so let's get rid of the sky here so we can still use the water. Just shrink the size of your clone tool. Okay, so what we're going to do next is start cloning the buildings. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to increase the size. I'm also going to increase the hardness so that it looks sharp. And I'm going to clone this little section here and just go right over it. Just like that. So you can use other buildings that are around these buildings to make it look like that's what the buildings look like. So it doesn't matter if you like change what they look like because nobody's going to see the original photo anyway. So I'm going to clone this here. Actually, I'm going to make this smaller. And now I'm just like cloning this wall and making it longer. So basically it's like you're an architect and you're making whole new buildings. Okay, how's it looking so far? All right, it's almost done. So I'm gonna keep cloning this here. I'm gonna just clone the building and make it look longer. Cloning that out as if that lady's head was never there. So basically I'm like cloning the same little section here over and over again to make it look like the entire roof of this building looks like that. You see how this top of this building is pretty similar to this one? So just clone that and put it here. Looks pretty fine. Yay. Okay, I changed the building up a little bit. Doesn't really matter. Looks the same. I might just delete this whole building here because that guy's face is too much on it. Now that part looks kind of empty. So I think what I'm gonna do is maybe just like clone this here and put it in this little empty section so that it doesn't look lonely over there. pretty much all done. Let's look at our before. Before, wow, that is so crazy. After, before, and after. So yeah, that is how you edit unwanted things out of a photo. As you can see, the before just looks so hectic. There's people all around. It looks crazy. It looks so distracting. But then when you get rid of everything, it just looks like they're the only people on the planet, all in love and cute. So yeah, I hope you guys liked this video and I hope it was helpful for you. Please feel free to comment on the bottom. Tell me what you liked about the video, what kind of tutorials you want next, or if you have any questions about this one, I'd be happy to help. So please, yeah, just let me know. You can message me, whatever, comment, and I'll get back to you. Thanks, guys.